the before times of YouTube, when it was still considered fun, there was an interesting art trend called Draw My Hell, where artists would imagine and draw out their own personal hell. I myself am not religious, but that doesn't mean I can't participate in such an interesting concept and give you, the viewer, something dark and twisted to look at for once instead of, I don't know, whatever brain rot they have on YouTube at the moment. Unfortunately, I can't go too dark since YouTube isn't even considered a neutered dog, more like a neutered, lobotomized vegetable. No thoughts, no drive, no substance, just a sad shell of its former self, only really able to do is drool and produce. Anyway, I figured I'd go a dark comedy sort of route, still morbid and horrifying like hell is usually depicted, but lighthearted enough that it doesn't get nuked by YouTube's censorship. But hey, it's not like I'm getting paid for this anyway. I'm so hungry. So what is hell like? Well, in my hell, I live in a huge city. Long stretches of traffic, buildings so pushed in together it feels like you're trapped in a hoarder's house, and smog so thick and heavy that it'll actually be healthier for you to stick your mouth around an exhaust pipe if you want that good air. With everything literally being stacked on top of each other and being stuffed in like a can of sardines, it's hot. Like Australia and Texas had a baby heat wave hot. Not enough to kill you, but every time I blink, I feel the warmth in my eyeballs. Because of the heat, there's a constant layer of sweat on everything. No matter what I do, I'm just coated in sweat. Even things that are commonly touched are just wet. It's really gross. What's the city like, you ask? It's New York. Yeah, I couldn't think of a place worse than New York other than maybe LA or California, but yeah, I sat for a good 20 minutes thinking and I just thought, why not New York? So I picture in my head that I would look overall the same, but here's the catch. You know how when you feel a little self-conscious about yourself and worry about people looking at you and how they see you, and you nitpick at every little thing about yourself, and when you look in the mirror you see someone that looks nothing like how you actually look, and you just fall into this deep mental turmoil? Yeah, that's basically just me, but all the time. It's normal to be a bit self-conscious about your looks and go through waves of, hey, I look pretty good today, to, oh my god, what is that hideous beast in my bathroom mirror? But to always look at yourself and just never connect to the person you see no matter what you change seems pretty hellish. To add to this layer of anxiety, I am also just anxiety filled. 24/7. There's not a single moment of peace from it. All the symptoms of overthinking, worried about everything, filled with shame, unable to relax. Even when I'm alone, I'll just always feel tense and uncomfortable. Like my skin is literally not mine. It's like this rubbery texture that just doesn't fit me quite right. And I'm always ever so slightly uncomfortable. Also, I feel like someone is out there watching me, but I never find out if it's true or not. One of my biggest fears is being in a Truman Show situation, but the difference with the movie is how the character slowly realizes the situation he was in and able to get out of it. For me, I simply never know. There's always this sense of uneasiness. I'll just never feel like I can truly have a moment of alone time. What if people are watching me? What if people can hear what I'm thinking? What do people actually see when looking at me? And every time I look out of the corner of my eye, I just see people staring at me, but when I look at them fully, they were never really looking at me at all. It's just this repeated cycle of me wondering if I'm being crazy or if I'm actually being watched. So looking at my checklist, so far we have paranoia and body issues, which is not too far off from my actual life. Just dial it up to 100. But what do I exactly do in hell? Just because you're dead doesn't mean you stop making a living. Well, I work my dream job as an artist. Seems like a silver lining in hell, right? No, for I fear it is much worse. A fate worse than being in hell itself. I go to my job, which is a boring gray building, and I sit in my boring gray cubicle. They chain me to my desk just to make sure I don't run away, and I spend my time drawing corporate art. We have to reach a quota of 24,000 drawings a day or we just don't go home. So this leads me and others to have to result in using AI art so we're not trapped at work. It's horrible. Horrible! Please cut my hands off. Skin me alive. Something else, please. Clocking out and going Clocking out and going back to my lovely, lovely home with its exposed wiring, roaches, and broken AC, and the mysterious dark figure that hides in the shadows, whispering terrifying realities into my sleep. Sure, I'm scared to go to the bathroom at night, but it's nice to have company now and then. I have my dinner for the night, which is a household name in hell, a box of disemboweled people, which is don't know who the people were before they became food, but if you're lucky, you might find a silver tooth. I add them to my collection. Got a pretty good size going. Sometimes you might realize you were eating your own family members. Oh, Uncle Dave, I wish I could have saved you. You tasted good, though. After dinner, I spend a little bit of my free time to watch Hell TV, which has many interesting shows. The best way to explain them is that they are like those creepy Adult Swim ads or weird, uncomfortable internet cartoons where nothing makes sense. Sort of like surreal entertainment. It's confusing and makes me very uncomfortable, but it's either this or sitting in silence for the next hour. So, anyways, the sky turns a deep blood red, and the watching moon that has a bunch of eyes and mouths sings a horrible, terrifying lullaby for all of hell to go to sleep. I get in my uncomfortable, lumpy bed and cover myself in my itchy wool blanket, and I just lay there, unable to sleep, fearing for the next day to come. So that's pretty much it. That's how I imagine my hell to be. I honestly had a hard time coming up with something since there's so many possibilities and funny things to put in, but I didn't want to make this video too long. Hopefully, what I made was interesting enough, and I was thinking of making a sequel that's called Draw My Heaven. I don't personally remember those types of videos being around, just the hell ones, so that'll be fun. Anyway, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I'll see you next time. Goodbye. In the before time,